2. Hello, everybody.
Hi, guys.
Hello.
Hi.
We are back with episode 25 of the
Yes.
Dojocast.
Quarter of 100. We're so close.
Yes, sir. And we got Mayde finally on our podcast. Welcome, Mayde. How are you doing, man? Bro, Mayde looks... he looks like he's not here right now.
Wait. Shush. He has something to say.
Yeah.
I love it.
Yeah, his avatar looks so...
It's wonderfully miserable.
Yeah, it is. But yes, everyone, Merry Christmas. I hope you guys all had a good Christmas and a holidays. So we should talk about what we all got for Christmas, because I kind of want to rate what the best gift was for this year.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Chat, feel free to participate. This is not just us.
No way
get?
you can beat my gift.
Oh, no.
What did you
I don't
get?
even know what he
What
got.
did you get?
I want to save it. I want to hear other people's gifts.
Okay. Well, you want to know what I got? Mine was exciting.
Sure, what'd you get?
I got clothes, 2 mini crock pots,
Okay.
and a fondue set.
Okay. That's actually pretty nice. I like that.
It's not bad. Not bad.
The one thing I got is actually, I just realized this is actually pretty funny. The one thing I got was high-heeled shoes for women that were leopard print.
What?
For
and the
you?
reason is,
What?
yes, and the reason that I got that was that it was the entirely wrong thing they sent us. I was supposed to get dude slippers, or no, I was supposed to get like slides, and
Slides.
she opened the box and they were leopard print high heels, and I was like, well, hold on, don't return them yet.
No, hold on. No, hold on.
Hold on, wait a minute. Yeah, that's what I got. So I got a returned item.
All right.
That-
Well,
that's what
I
it is.
got...
Well, no, what did Mayde get?
Oh, yeah, man. Go ahead.
Okay, I got some clothes. Some pretty good clothes, actually.
Okay.
Not expensive, just like clothes.
Yeah.
It's fabric.
Yeah, the usual.
And, yeah. I also got soaps, which I think is my family trying to tell me something. So,
Wait.
Dude, soaps are nice.
That's
Soaps
great
are
though.
honestly,
Yeah.
yeah.
I remember when I turned 18 and my mom just put a whole bunch of like deodorant and toothpaste in my stocking.
Oh,
That
dear.
was funny.
Oh, dear.
But no, I get the clothes thing. Like the only time of year that I actually ever get clothes, because I'm not a fashion guy, is
Yeah.
either Christmas or my birthday.
Same, dude. As an adult, I've bought clothes like 3 separate occasions. That's it, honestly. Other than like a restock of just plain socks or something.
Yeah.
I get still supplied clothes via Christmas.
Sure.
Yeah. All right, Hyun,
All
what'd
right.
you get?
Yeah, I think Christmas is where I got my
I
clothes
got
from.
a cookbook called The Chicken Bible.
Oh, that's pretty good.
Yeah, it's literally like picking hundreds and hundreds of different ways to cook chicken. And I'm like, oh my God, this is amazing. Thank you.
Did that moment where you got turned into a whole chicken or like a whole fried chicken, did that change you? Like mentally?
I mean, honestly, yeah, it did. It's going to stick with me for the rest of my
Life-changing
life.
experience
Honestly.
in a positive
Yeah.
way. That's good to hear, man.
No, dude, like the PTSD kind of way, you know?
You're like,
It's not a good feeling. Bro. It's not good being a chicken, but I'm fully recovered now, as you can see.
oh, I also wanted to touch upon where we are today a little bit. We're Christmas tree shopping today. That's our setting. This is after Christmas, and I just kind of thought, what better time to get a Christmas tree from the lot than after Christmas? Because I mean, if you have like Valentine's Day, right? The discounts are insane. It's like 80% off Valentine's Day chocolates the next day after Valentine's. So I thought we'd get some killer deals on some yellowing Christmas trees, you know? But then we realized we had to do the pod.
Yeah, we were a little late. Hyun, how much is the one that you're like loving right now?
Dude, I don't even know, man. But I'm gonna be honest, these trees are looking sad right now, dude.
But you're really attached to that one specifically.
I like this one. This one's good.
I think we have to pick that one out.
Yeah, okay. I guess I'll have to get that one. How much does the price tag say?
It says $2. $2. That's good.
That's a good deal.
That's a good
deal.
Yeah. I mean, there's
a good deal.
practically no leaves left on this.
I didn't bring my wallet with me. Hyun?
Do you think they take card or?
Yeah, Mayde's got us covered. Don't worry, Mayde.
Yeah, Mayde, you got us.
Mayde, you got this. Mayde's got this.
Yeah, he's got it.
Is that like chill? Is that okay?
It's pretty customary for the guests to buy the Christmas trees on the
podcast.
Yeah. The tree.
All right. Oh, dude, I was reading the chat. Dude, people have been getting some crazy gifts. Dude.
Oh yeah, I saw someone.
One dude
got a MetaQuest.
MetaQuest 3, PS5.
Wow.
Man, you guys are living the good life right now. Holy.
Ooh,
I don't know
someone,
if it's leopard print.
Kiddo Cat XX got bed sheets, candy, and $500. Imagine just getting that much money for Christmas.
Yo!
Like, goddamn,
Oh
they might have won. I'd rather have
bring
like
me
hard
into
cash
your family,
than,
please.
yeah. Like,
Yo,
man.
yeah, invite us next Christmas, man. We'll do.
That's an
podcast.
adult
Real,
gift.
yeah.
I like those. I was actually talking about how adults giving gift to adults, you should like the best kind of gifts you can get are ones that like pay a bill, or better yet, like imagine if for Christmas you gifted or received a year's worth of Netflix or something. You know, like one entire year's worth of something that you usually would otherwise get. I think that's like a really sick adult to adult gift, even though that's probably like $180 or something or whatever. But
True.
Yeah.
like that's like we're like, yeah, let's go.
Yeah.
Huge.
Dang. Well.
Yeah.
Well, Mayde.
Yeah, Mayde.
Yeah, Mayde.
What's up, buddy?
This is the transition. This episode is clearly very last minute.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It says Stone introduction. So Stone.
It does. Yes, I got it from here. So, hello, Mayde. Let's go ahead and let the world know a little bit about yourself. So, introduce yourself and what do you do and what are you known for?
Okay, so I'm an animator. I've been an animator for, oh my god, about like 16, 17 years.
Oh, wow.
It was I started in the stick figure community actually, in droids.
Oh,
droids.
Yo.
Yeah.
I haven't heard.
Wait, what is
I
droids
haven't
again?
heard that name in years.
Yeah. It was like that stick figure website where you can just go and download people's sticks and like their animations, and they had like a forum where people were giving tutorials and all that. That's where I learned about easing.
Pivot. It was Pivot, yeah? Droids was mainly Pivot, yeah?
Pivot.
Yeah.
Yeah, Pivot mainly.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it was like that was like the beginning. It was like, oh my god, 2007, 2008. I was like 10 years old.
Jeez.
Wow.
Dude, everyone starts so young. Like, that's what I noticed with most of our guests. They start at
10 to
like
12.
10, 11.
Yeah.
Yeah. In recent years, I've mostly been known for I've had like people say like, "Are you the 48 FPS guy?" I'm like,
Yeah.
yeah, that's me.
We'll go more into that later, but
Yeah.
There's a...
Oh man.
So you started off with stick figure. I've actually never seen like some of your stick figure animations because I kind of known you for your kind of like cartoonish style, you know?
Yeah.
So like when did that kind of happen, that transition?
It was about like 2012 around there. Because from 2007 and on, I was doing stick figure animation, and then in 2011, I stopped animating and got into video editing and like 3D stuff, like tracking footage and stuff like that.
Oh,
And,
okay.
Nice.
Yeah, like inserting 3D objects into existing footage and all that kind of stuff. I was only like 13 or something, so it's kind of crazy I was doing that at that time.
Yeah.
And then 2012, I got back into animation using puppet rigs instead of like stick figures and hand-drawn stuff.
Oh. So going back
Yeah,
to the
it was-
beginning then, what was like your biggest inspiration for when you got started? Like what made you start with stick figures? Was there any like specific animation that you remember?
Oh yeah, stick figures on crack, Pivot Master DX.
Yes.
Oh yeah,
Shit,
yeah.
let's fucking go.
Dude, that is a classic. Oh my
That
god.
is a classic.
That was like the
It was-
original like YouTube poops back in the day.
Mm-hmm.
Wait, can we pull
I
up some
so
stick
badly
figures
want
on?
to do 'em.
Does that still exist on YouTube?
Stick figures on crack? I'm pretty sure it does.
Yeah.
Yeah, one sec.
Those,
those
are
were
so
huge.
old.
That was like one of the bigger earlier YouTube stick things. Like
That was
those were
like
everywhere.
Oh
Yeah,
my
stuff,
god, they
right?
still
Yeah,
have it.
yeah.
The freaking hamburger. I
I
remember
guess
that.
this is what inspired that
Yes.
stick movie, right?
Yeah. Oh my god.
Yeah, these are
It's
super old school.
Way early on, it was that, like also Don Hertzfeldt with like animation
Yeah.
show Rejected.
Yeah, dude, Don
Ooh.
Hertzfeldt.
Yeah. Like way back, I saw the animation show and I was like, this is the funniest thing ever. I want to do stuff like this.
I remember seeing these back when YouTube's like first started out.
Yep.
And I wouldn't say they like inspired me, but it was so funny just watching these back in the day because I mean this is what we had back in the day.
Yeah. This is peak stick figure.
This is
humor.
like the skibbity toilet of
Yeah,
back then.
exactly it.
Dude.
Yeah.
That's exactly it.
Oh,
People
man.
think brain rot's a new thing. No, it's just we found a term.
No,
for it.
it's
Yeah,
just
it's been-
different. It's just different. Yeah.
But yeah, that's awesome that you kind of grew up with the same stuff that we've been watching back in the day.
Yeah. It was definitely a lot of like early YouTube. A little bit of E-Bombs World too. Like
Yeah.
way back.
Oh, yeah.
E-Bombs World, yeah.
E-Bombs World and Albino Black Sheep. That was the other one. That's
Albino
like,
Black Sheep,
yeah.
yeah. Dang,
same
dude.
time.
I can't believe I forgot about those. It's crazy.
They evaporated so quick. They were like super big pre-YouTube or when YouTube was just kind of like starting out, and then they just gone.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Whoa.
Yeah.
That's disgusting. Oh my god, dude.
I don't even.
Yeah,
think
we're gonna
my
go
s-
into that again.
Hey, I don't even think my stream settings are set to show this properly.
They're
Wait.
not. They're not even seeing that.
Oh
in real-
yeah, they can't
yeah.
see this.
Yeah, mine's at 30 FPS. This is 60.
Yeah, it's missing some. So those should be your older inspirations. So do you have any current inspirations that are most notable?
Oh, absolutely at the very top. Definitely James Baxter. Like
James back. Oh man.
James
Yeah.
Baxter.
when I think about approaching animation, like he's the first one that comes to mind. And I always think of like when I'm doing in-betweens, I think of Richard Williams.
Richard Williams.
Yeah.
Dang.
He is like he is the brain and I want his kind of brain.
I want.
Yeah, I mean
yeah.
these are all like the old goats from back in the day, and
Yeah.
we're still inspired by those types of guys,
Yeah.
right?
Oh my god, who else is that? Milt Kahl. Holy shit. Milt Kahl is just insane draftsman. Like his shots in 101 Dalmatians. They are beautiful.
Yeah,
Incredible animation, and I strive to get to that point.
that's awesome. You don't get a lot of people that are kind of inspired by those old OG animators
Yeah.
from like 101 Dalmatians and old Disney films and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Oh, that's
That's
like
cool.
so cool.
When you look at the really good and really insane animators these days, like some of my other inspirations, like Waylon Zhang, like
Mhm.
Spencer Wan, and like Yo-Yo Shinari, all these guys, their inspirations were these original like 9 old men.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I did hear about that. Like a lot of the Eastern Japanese animators were inspired by the Western old the old men animators. I don't know what to call them.
Yeah.
The 9 old men,
Yeah.
was it right?
Yeah, 9 old men.
Those are the guys that wrote the Animator Survival book, or was it?
No, it was Richard Williams that wrote that book, and
Ah, got it,
he
got it.
worked with some of the old men. Like the original old men were the ones that came up with the 12 animation principles that we all follow.
Yes.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
So they
And they-
they genuinely invented fire for animation.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah.
Yeah, like they were the pioneers, and then they came up with the terms and all that, and
yeah,
and
they
then
laid
that
the
spawned.
groundwork.
Yeah, and then that spawned the animator survival kit and all that. And it's like a giant domino effect
Mm-hmm.
from just those guys. and they were all super skilled. It's kind of crazy to think about their skill level even to this day. It's probably unmatched.
So this next question I have for you, Mayde, is kind of like 3 parts. It's how did you join Hyun's Dojo, and are you in any other communities? And how has being in a community affected you?
So, Hyun's Dojo, like I remember when I was younger, I'd always heard about Hyun's Dojo, but I never participated in the community. I never joined it. I just kind of saw it every once in a while. And I think it was sometime in 2019, 2020. I was just scrolling like the public Discord servers.
Yeah.
Like, the Explore thing, and I'm like, oh, Hyun's Dojo, and isn't that like an animation thing? I joined, and as soon as I came in, I started talking more, joining calls, and then critiquing people's animation, helping guide them, and it's like I really like the community because there's people who are like crazy good at what they do. And these people are also coaching this new generation of animators that want to be as crazy as them.
Yeah. But dude, you say you found us through the public Discord search thing?
I
didn't even know that was
I've
the
never
first
touched that.
I didn't even know that was a real thing.
That's
Yeah,
crazy.
me neither. Because like I remember that option popped up, and then we're like, hey, yeah, might as well. I mean, no one's probably gonna find us this way, but like, sure, we'll just do it. And,
Other options, no harm
but that's
to it.
crazy. How you joined our community because of that.
Yeah. As for like other communities, I'm in like, Dark Demon. I remember joining Dark Demon.
Oh, yeah.
Oh yeah!
yeah.
Wait, no way.
Yeah, because I joined the Dark Demon Discord with my friend Oblivion Fall, another crazy fucking animator. And him and I were just hanging out in there. And this was like, I'd never posted anything. I just kind of came in one day and I was like, here's some of my stuff, and I got that elite rank right away, and that was something I'd wanted ever since
That's
I was
awesome.
a kid.
Yeah.
Right after I got that rank, they abolished ranks in general.
Got
And,
it.
yeah, and then they got me onto like the critique staff. So I was like, oh, okay.
You know what I find
Helping
is,
out animators.
one thing I find that's really interesting is I feel like there was like a line drawn on the internet back then with the communities, the Flash animation or the animation community at the time, because if you started on Pivot, the pipeline was Droids and Dark Demon and back and forth, and you kind of, those communities kind of stayed together. There wasn't very many people, but there was some, but they'd cross over to like SFDT, Stick Page, Fluid Anim, like the more Flash leaning websites, and it's like those two ran parallel in the same interest, but through different programs. And because YouTube wasn't very popular, it was really like we'd only kind of see each other cross mingling on like Newgrounds, where something would get popular and go on the front page of Newgrounds. That's really like the bridge point. But it's interesting that you went from like, Droids and Dark Demon, because that's, I've seen a lot of people that they either start in Dark Demon and go to Droids or vice versa.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like I started in those communities way later. Like I so badly wish that I interacted with these communities when I was like a lot younger, because I would have made so many more friends these days. Like, because back then I just kind of lurked. I was just like a kid.
Yeah. I know a lot of lurkers that kind of came out after a while, and then they just end up making a bunch of friends, getting to know. I mean, like one of our global mods, Sereth. I remember he was a lurker for many years too. But yeah, that's pretty cool.
In terms of like how
yeah.
the community has like affected me in general, I like that I'm able to communicate with other animators because it lets me formulate my thoughts into words a lot easier. Because before, when I try to give someone a critique, like someone I hated, like when you say like, how do I make this animation better, and people just say like, oh, it needs more frames.
More easing.
More easing.
More easing.
I feel like
more anticipation.
I feel like being in like Hyun's Dojo and Dark Demon and these like traditional animation servers and stuff like that. I feel like after giving so many critiques, I feel like I'm able to sort of teach in a way and guide people with proper language.
Yeah, I mean, like I've seen you around in the animation portal and the was it the creative chats, and I feel like you are always just consistently giving critiques to people when they don't really get it, and
Yeah.
to get that from someone like yourself who has like a lot of um skills and history behind animation, and not just stick figure animation, it's just like in general. I think it is really it's really valuable.
Yeah. Because
And like
I feel like it's important to explore different types of animation, so I know what kinds to critique for people, especially. Because like, only thing I don't know is like critiquing 3D animation. Anything
true.
2D, I'm like, oh, you know, like.
I've even learned from some of your tutorials because I remember seeing like your lip syncing tutorial, and it was so useful, dude. Like, it was on, I think it was on Twitter where I saw it, but it was really cool.
Yeah.
I don't know if you guys seen Mayde's lip syncing, but he's so good at it. The just lip syncing animations of just how
I love them.
Yeah, it's so good. And it's so simple, but it works really well.
There's one
thank
here
you.
earlier. 1 second.
The shorts kill me, man.
But oh yeah, like these ones,
I
Yeah,
get to nerd out
it's so
because
good.
like
lip syncing is so good.
lip sync is. I'll play this first and then I'll nerd out.
Mishimene bashkemena sagane betosijigane bekwajigan. Apple pie.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Like I don't know, like on your list, Mayde, where like is lip sync one of your most favorite things to animate? Because it is my number one.
Yeah, I think it's like number 1, probably number 2. Because
It's like facial animation and lip sync is so much fun.
yeah, I like doing facial animation, but I love doing body language.
Oh
Like,
yeah, I can tell. I mean, not from this one,
Yeah.
but you know.
he's mimicking your today's pose.
Oh,
It's the same pose.
But yeah, speaking of like your animations, I remember I feel like I remember seeing you going viral because of your animations and for it being super smooth using egregiously high FPS.
Oh yeah.
And I don't know when it went viral. It was like, I don't even know, like 3-4 years ago, I think.
I remember exactly.
Yeah, you gotta kind of go through the experience with that.
Which one was it?
Yeah, so it was sometime in like 2021. I was sitting in a call with some friends, and we were all discussing like high frame rate when, you know, in animation and stuff like that. And
Yeah.
I thought about it for a second, and I just asked them like, what would it what would it look like if you actually did high frame rate animation without like any interpolation or anything? Like you just straight up set your file frame rate to like 48 or 60 and actually did it. So the first attempt was this old animation I did of a guy balancing on a pole, and he was like balancing on one foot. I did it on 24 FPS. And I watched it over and I'm like, I should put this on 48. There's not that many drawings. It's a simple design. I'll just see what it looks like. I did it in about a day. And when I showed it to my friends, they were like, why are you doing this? It looks cool, but like, why?
Yeah.
And there's a thing deep down that loves that reaction of what the hell are you doing? Like, why?
Yeah. I mean,
I
I had that
totally
same
get it.
reaction.
Like that reaction when other animators are asking you, like, dude, what the heck? So when I started doing more high frame rate stuff, it was mostly to practice in-betweening, to get really, really clean and like avoid jitter. Because jitter is really, really obvious when you go on ones at
Yeah,
24
very
FPS.
obvious. That's
It's
a really good point.
4 times. Yeah, it's 4 times as more obvious when you go up to like 48 and 60. So when I started using way higher frame rates, I started getting really consistent in-betweens with like my regular animations.
Yeah.
So
you kind of did it as like a
anymore.
joke at first, but it actually kind of helped you with improving your animation skill at the end.
Yeah.
That's awesome. But yeah, like that 148 FPS animation has something like 3 million views on YouTube for some reason.
I was not expecting that.
Just that 5-second animation.
Yeah.
When I
2.2
posted
million
it
right now.
2.2 million.
Yeah. When I posted it online and I sent it on like Twitter and like YouTube and all that, my first thought was other animators are gonna watch this. Normal people aren't gonna watch it. It's like the hell does this mean 48 FPS?
Yeah.
Well, I remember this started being shared around the time that interpolation was starting to be discussed before AI became a huge thing.
Mm-hmm.
So I think it was just timing in my perspective.
Yeah. But like that's the thing, like just the average viewer doesn't understand like how much work it is to do like 48 FPS. So it's crazy how it went viral, like just from like the animator's perspective, like just all the animators just kind of being at a collective response of oh my god.
Yeah. Everyone thinks you're crazy, but animators think you're insane.
Yeah,
right.
Exactly.
I think the only way a non-animator could really grasp it is if you just had a still of the onion skin of the entirety of it, and then they could be like, "Oh, that's like the biggest way."
You gotta post that somewhere. I'd love to see that.
Then they could get it, Then they'd understand the suffering in people's eyes that are animators. They're like, "Oh my."
Yeah, because it's impossible for the human brain to comprehend how many individual drawings this is until you give it that visual experience. I'd love to see that.
And I got Flash open. Let me post a screenshot in a second.
Oh,
that's
perfect.
perfect.
Get it right now. Okay, 1 second.
That was one of the most intimidating things I think of first opening the Animator Survival Kit is that when they would show the breakdown of the varying layers of frame rates on the same thing, and you could see how close it was getting and how intimidating it would quickly get as they would scale more and more in between all of the keys they were putting through. And I think that's like the best visual representation of like not only the skill but the suffering. Like how incredibly, but it's true, how incredibly rigid you have to be, how incredibly particular every single little bit of the process is.
Dude, Attendo, you have to bring this up.
One sec.
That's exactly it. Showing that and then being able to be like, okay, yeah, those are all hand redrawn.
Bro, look how many legs he has. Oh my god.
I get more stressed out about the thick parts that aren't moving as much, like the front of the shirt.
Like the dense parts.
Yeah.
And you're even doing hair movement in that.
Yeah.
And those physics, I don't even have that shit down.
Bro, I think I'm gonna be sick.
There it is. That's the sauce. Now everyone else can join in for what we're seeing when we're looking at it.
Yeah. I love that you're just working so much harder than you need to be. But like, I kind of want to try it now because you said like that it helps figure out it helps polish your in between, helps with less boiling and shit like that.
For sure.
I think like I kind of want to try it myself. It'll be hell, but I want to do it.
Yeah, like there's like I know like the next topic was going to be like frame rate that I prefer.
Yeah.
And this is something that I like that like it's deep in my brain. It's real fucking deep in there where I prefer 24 FPS the most because I see everything move at 24 FPS when I'm observing it in like real life. Like if I see someone walking and I know that their stride takes about like a second and a half, I'm like, oh, that's like 36 frames. Like, so my brain just sees everything in 24 FPS, and if I have to use reference for a video, I know exactly how many frames I'm gonna need.
Yeah.
So for 48, I just double that.
Jeez.
Right.
Wow.
Right. I will say this, I'm just now realizing, like, are you guys like me when you see something that's animated really smooth, that's a really high frame rate, it feels kind of weird? Like, in your body or how you're seeing. You're like, I think what it is because we see the world in like the 24 FPS. It's like uncanny valley for our visualization of movement. You know, it's like I could tell it's a real thing and it's moving in an expected way, but something's not right about it. You know, there's something doesn't feel right about how it's moving, and I think it's that high frame rate that gives that like almost anxiety.
Well, but like, do we see the world at 24 FPS? Because like,
I think it's 25
we're able to comprehend.
is the human eye. I think the human eye is
True?
25.
Is that real?
Yeah, we have our own refresh rate.
Hey Google, what frame rate does the human eye see?
I think it was 25.
I think it's somewhere between like
30 to 60 frames per second.
Oh, okay.
Okay, I got the information I need. Thank you.
It's going into the entire lore.
Yeah, no, there's 36 more pages to read out to you.
I heard it differs depending on like your sense of emotions as well.
Whoa.
Yeah, I think it's different based on your eye training as well, because there's like Fortnite gamers who play with like 360 refresh rate.
Yeah,
actually that's fair. I could see that.
Interesting.
Yeah. Some Fortnite gamers you could see at 300 frames per second.
Dude, speaking of single framed animation, I kind of want to like get your guys' preference on kind of like the old Western style of like super smooth single framed animation versus kind of the anime and sakuga style of the East, where they use purposely like limited frames. Because I know people have a preference of limited frames as well, just using like a bunch of creative tactics of both saving time and smear frames and all that versus having like a smooth animation. Like, do you guys have like a preference?
Me and a bunch of my friends have talked about this before, and I love this discussion. I personally feel like every animator should try making a full animation in singles and making a full animation in like 2s and 3s and maybe 4s, which I think most animators already do that. But then it becomes a matter of understanding when to use those. Like when do you use singles? When do you use multis? So for me,
that's a good point.
I did this. Okay, I'm gonna pull up an animation, and Keenlaw might kill me later, but I already put it in my demo reel, so it's fine. But I did a high action animation recently for Keenlaw's collaboration, and I made it a point to myself to not use any singles. So I'm pretty sure it is like there might be like 1 or 2 singles in there, just because it felt like it needed it. It felt a little weird without it, but it is mostly on 2s and 3s, and maybe even like a couple 4s. I gotta be careful to not play the audio from this. Hang on, because okay, that was close. Let me.
This is for the butterfly collab, is it?
It's for Pass the Flag collab.
Oh, Pass the Flag.
This is Keenlaw's collab. Don't know when it's coming out. It's already on my demo reel, so sorry, Keenlaw, if you didn't want me sharing it, but here I am. But yeah, this whole thing is mostly on 2s and 3s, and you can kind of tell when you look for it, except for all the obviously tweened motions, like the character movement and the flag is all on 2s.
Oh, that's nice.
That is cool.
But like, it still looks really good and fluid, but it's technically at 12 FPS. Yeah. But it's using that as an exercise to understand when to use certain frame rates and multis and singles, whatever your term would be for it.
Yeah.
Yeah. What about you, Mayde?
Mayde. My perspective on that is kind of the same. I like being somewhere in the middle where you know when to use one or the other. And I always see new animators doing this thing where they believe everything should be on 1s. And they do a really, really slow movement on 1s. And I'm like, you could make that so much easier if you put that on 4s and 3s. Yeah. And they're like, but it'll be choppy. And I'm like, choppy doesn't exist. Choppy does not exist.
Yeah.
And when it comes to like using 1s, I'm always using 1s for like walk cycles or run cycles and stuff.
Really?
Like that. Ooh. Yeah. Because if the camera's moving, I don't want the feet to, stutter back and forth.
Yeah.
And then when it comes to like doing regular actions and character acting and stuff like that, I'm always going between 3s, 2s, and 1s. But for 1s, I save for either just smears or really, really important moments of acting.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like I'm always on 3s. I'm always using 3s and 2s.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, like using 3s and even 4s, I feel like is in the right way. Can still make an animation smooth. It's just it just depends on how you use them. I feel like there are some animes out there that you can just tell that it's like it's like too choppy during the action scenes, and you can't really tell what's going on.
Mm-hmm.
So I definitely prefer like a mix between frame rates, using like singles and doubles during high movement, and then going over to like 3s and 4s and maybe even 5s for like subtle movements.
Yeah, there was something that like I remember talking about it on Twitter like several years ago, and somebody brought up a good term for it. I used to call it frame modulation, where when you're doing an animation and you have someone standing and then slowly transitioning into a run and then back to standing, you would kind of like the first thing in my brain back then would to just be like, okay, just do it all on 1s, or like do it all on 2s. But I started thinking more about being really economical about it, and this is something I did for the high frame rate animations as well, where instead of doing the whole animation on 1s or just 2s, I would save, like I would do almost like a modulation of the frame rates, where when things move faster, that's when it goes on 1s. And someone called it a frame accordion, and I think that's such an amazing way to describe it.
That is, I love that.
I like that.
Yeah.
It's all.
That's what I do.
It's all about making it clear to someone who doesn't animate, in my perspective.
Yeah.
Like if you watch something like say you work on something, you step away from it for a couple hours, you come back to it, play it once, and if you have a hard time understanding something, it might need more frames.
Yeah.
It's all about first.
There's also that. There's this weird thing that happens when you're watching animation. When you watch something moving on 1s go to a complete halt, it just feels so wrong. But when you watch it come to a halt on 2s, then 3s and 4s, it feels so much better.
Oh yeah,
It does.
100%.
Way better.
So you're telling me if I play this animation and then pause it in the middle of consistent movement, it doesn't feel natural?
That animation, actually, there were so many people saying, like, I can't believe he did 288 drawings for this animation. I'm like, there is 89 drawings in this animation. Like, I counted. There's 89 of them.
Yeah,
because you're still using, like, multi-frame, right? Like, you're still hanging on
there's
some
sections of that. Yeah, there's sections of that animation where it goes on, like, 7s and 8s.
Oh, wow.
Because you can get away with that at high frame rate.
Yeah,
you can.
And there's also the like I also love how some cartoons and like animes as well, they use 1s as a way to convey like a feeling. Say there's like a really creepy scene where the dude's doing things with their fingers, they usually like single frame that thing for no reason, and it's just like increases the creepiness just because it's single framed.
I think it's because it heightens the sense of what do you call it, like uncanny valley, especially if the lines are boiling a lot.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
There's also the artist's interpretation in Spider-Verse, especially the first one, where they had Miles at like 12 FPS and then Peter B at like 24 in some sequences to show how Miles was a lot more rough in his actions and learning.
Yeah. Dang, dude, I didn't know, but that's so cool how they use frame rate to convey feelings for the audience in kind of like an indirect way, which is awesome. I need to do that more. Yeah.
also wish more people just said like 2s and 3s instead of like double framing, triple framing, quadruple framing, quintuple framing.
Yeah.
It's like, dude, that's like 8 syllables. Just say 2s.
Yeah.
That's so
I had that issue for a long time. I think that's just something that people pick up in this specific community for some reason.
Yeah,
I've
it really
noticed.
was.
But yeah, it's so much easier to just say 2s, 3s, and 4s.
Yes, sir.
All right, we got to move on. We're talking about this for a while.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yep. Go ahead, sir.
I was going to go ahead and take over, and we wanted to kind of get into a little bit what it's like working for indie animation cartoon industry, and more or so along the lines of what are some of the more notable jobs or cartoons that you've worked on?
So when I first started out with sort of the indie space, I was doing animation for music videos with Oblivion Fall, a friend. I was doing rough animation for him. I think I have stuff in my demo reel for it, but I don't know. It was like way back, and it was when I was like first ever job.
Yeah. I see him in the chat right now. He's right there.
Yeah.
Hey, yo.
After that, I got onto Pencilmation, and Pencilmation was at the time like a really fun stick figure animation thing.
I remember
had
Pencilmation.
Yeah, like I had a ton of fun doing that, like 2 to 3 minute shorts by yourself. Like they just give you a bunch of storyboard drawings and they're like, connect these together. I'm like,
That's
okay.
kind of fun.
Yeah.
So it was kind of freeing. Like you were given essentially a rough guideline as to what they want to happen, and then you were kind of like off to the races to do your own thing. It's kind of.
Yeah. So it was just they give you all the storyboard drawings, and you can interpret the drawings as your own style, or you could follow it really closely. I usually followed it closely, but I also had my own style in some episodes I did. But a lot of the time I would just like look at the boards, figure out what's going on. Thankfully, I didn't have to do much backgrounds. I didn't have to do much of that stuff. It was entirely character animation. And it was like, first episode I did was like 2 minutes maybe. Second episode was one of the largest animation projects I've ever done. It was like 4.5 minutes.
Oh, wow.
Oh, wow.
All on your
I did it
own?
in about 6 months, yeah.
Whoa.
That's a crazy pipeline. Just dumping it on one dude to work on an entire
Crazy.
episode.
But I imagine they do that the same thing for like 20 animators or something.
Oh, yeah. And because of the art style, it's way more manageable than if I was given like a really complex character design.
True.
And they also gave us freedom, like if the drawing was too complex, we could simplify it, make it easier to animate and all that. There wasn't any production model sheets. It was just try not to do this and this. It's like, okay.
Oh, wow. Did you have to do, were you ever put in a situation where you had to like redo large portions? Because if you're kind of off to the races to do your own thing, you could pretty much, get a huge chunk of it done, send it in, and then be like, oh, this is good, but can we redo this entire last scene? Like, did you ever have any nightmare scenarios like that?
Thankfully, never. They always had it like nailed down at the storyboard phase. Like after they're done the storyboards, it was like, okay, this is the story that we're locking into. We're not going to change it. It's up to the animator to just make them move now.
Okay.
And
Got it.
the worst thing that happened was I was working on an episode, and this was like early 2018 or something. My second episode with them, I was animating for, oh my god, it was probably like 14 hours at the time, like continuously. And I had just got done like a 45-minute, 1-minute stretch of animation, and then I accidentally hit the timeline and pressed F6 and turned every single keyframe into every single frame into a keyframe. Flash crashed. My computer blue screened. And it blue screened in the middle of an autosave, so I had to go back and redo that entire 45 seconds, and I got it done the same day.
Oh my. Dude, I know if you animate, you've been there where you go to hit F5 or something, and it actually has the rest of your entire file highlighted, and you hit F6 and it just pause, and you're like, no, and you know what's happening.
Yeah.
You're just hoping that it doesn't explode and you can control Z out of it. Oh, that's a nightmare.
Okay, wait. Sorry, just to interrupt. I saw this in chat. Oblivion said this. You worked on the Cuphead song from DA Games?
Yeah, I did rough animation for it.
Crazy. Okay, I just wanted to
Bring that up.
brief that before I pulled it up.
Yeah.
Because I remember seeing
this
this
is
when
so
it
cool.
came out, and I was so impressed with how accurate it was to the style of the game.
Wait a minute. I think
Was this one of your first jobs?
recently-ish?
This is
This
6
was
years
my
ago.
first animation job.
2018. This was your
Oh,
first
okay.
animation job?
Yeah.
That's crazy. Because this is so good.
Yeah.
It was like summer 2017 or something. I wasn't doing anything. I wasn't animating that much. I wasn't hanging out with anybody. I was pretty much just not doing anything. And then Oblivion Fall came out of nowhere, and he's like, "Hey, let's just like talk more and hang out." And I was like, "Okay." We started talking in servers, and then he's like, "I really like your rough animation. Do you want a job?" I was like, "Sure." He gave me like the idea. I like just roughed everything out, and I threw them at him, and he was like, "Dude, like these are good." I was like, "Oh, okay."
Wow.
It kind of matches though, like with your
It's crazy.
it kind of like with your style. It
Yeah.
kind of makes sense that he would give you that job because it's just pretty much what you do.
Yeah, that marionette was like really fun to animate. I
Oh,
didn't do
the
Cuphead.
exiting
That
thing?
was done by that was done by this has like probably 3 or 4 animators on this project.
Dang. And
I mean,
was
everyone did
this
a great job.
was this in Flash or like Animate?
100% Flash, 100%. Yeah,
Whoa.
100% animate.
Oh my god. I don't know
Like
how
what
that's
version?
They
possible.
did yeah.
Yeah.
I think
Wow.
this was Animate 2018.
Okay.
Jeez.
That's still crazy though. I never would have
That-
guessed.
I did my
Yeah.
roughs in CS6.
Oh,
my
that's
God,
wild.
dude.
I mean, you
'Cause,
can
like-
get away
Say
with
it's-
roughs though.
Yeah.
So would you say that it's still common for like people in the industry to use Animate, or is there other programs that people would like for you to use for different projects?
It's like it changes from production to production. Like some people they prefer using Animate. Some people don't really mind what you use. I know like what's that? Izukin. The intro was done in Adobe Animate. Like
Got it.
that surprised me. I was actually like really freaking out about that. And I noticed as time goes on, a lot of like studios don't really care what software you use.
Really?
And
Whoa.
yeah, unless it's like really specific to like the pipeline.
Yeah.
Like if it's a puppet animation show, you have to use the program to
Oh, yeah,
use like, the
obviously.
puppets
Right.
and all that.
Makes sense.
But if you're doing like hand-drawn kind of traditional animation for something, you can use Clip, you could use, TV Paint, you could use anything. I've seen people use like paper animation.
Wow.
Wow. It's just whatever the net result is, as long as the net result matches, whatever
As
they're
long
going
as you're
for.
able to give them an image sequence, that's pretty much it.
Wow, that's actually really cool.
Yeah.
Do you have a preferred? What's your favorite?
I love using TV Paint, but
Really?
TV Paint.
I so badly wish that everybody just stole the idea of Flash's symbols.
Yes.
Yeah.
I just feel like it should be universal, like symbols, because it's just so good.
Yeah.
I mean, it's still, a
Is
lot
it
of them still
patented
haven't really
nested
implemented
timelines?
the concept of tweening, right?
Yeah. Like just the idea of nested timelines in an animation software is so
Oh my God, yeah.
simple and it's so
Incredibly
yeah,
useful.
Oblivion says so OP. Yeah.
Yeah. And how come you like TV Paint as over the other animations and softwares?
It has really really good animation tools for hand-drawn stuff. Because as much as I loved doing puppet animation, I liked the freedom of doing hand-drawn stuff.
Yeah.
When you're using Flash, you don't have much to work with. Like,
Oh yeah.
you can flip. You can't even flip the canvas. You have to come up with like
Yeah.
ways to do that. And rotating the canvas didn't exist until like 2018.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's
Yeah, you
like,
still can't even flip it, right?
yeah, you have to
I
like
don't think you can.
That feels
You put
like such an
everything- yeah.
obvious thing to add.
Come on, Adobe.
I came up with a way to fix that just by throwing the whole animation into a symbol and then making a command to flip it.
Whoa. If it works.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And like some of your recent works, I believe you worked on like Monkey Wrench, right? I mean, that's what we're seeing right now.
Yeah, that was a few years ago. I met Zarel through Pencilmation, actually. He was a massive animator for them. And
Yeah.
he just randomly asked me one day, he's like, hey, are you doing anything for the summer? Like, any jobs lined up? And I was like, no. He's like, oh, well, I'd like to work with you on something. And I was like, oh, okay. He showed me the animatic and stuff like that. And I was like, I definitely want to work on this.
Oh, yeah.
And he didn't assign us any shots. Like, we weren't assigned shots. We were able to watch through the animatic and pick them out ourselves.
Oh,
that's
It
cool.
felt so nice.
I'm taking notes.
So I watched through the animatic and I kept track of all the shot names, and I was like, "That's one. No, I want that one. I want that one." And I went into the Google Docs
That's
and I saw it was taken by
genius.
someone else.
That is
Yeah.
truly an animator designing the pipeline for animators, because if you are doing this, you definitely are going to watch through, and there's definitely going to be sections that are going to spark immediate joy where you're like, that I know, it's either the right emotions or styles or the thing that you prefer to animate for that section. And having the animators be able to just handpick them themselves is genius, because then you're not going to be handed with a sequence that you're like just struggling through and suffering and having a hard time on, when that same thing could be someone else's preferred thing to do, and they would just scream through it. So that's so cool.
Yeah, when I was watching through the animatic, I saw the scene with Zach Hadel's character screaming. And I was like, man, that shot has to be taken by somebody. Like, I came into the production like a little late.
Yeah.
Like, everybody else had already like gotten their shots assigned. I joined the like chat and everything, and I saw the Discord, and I joined the document for claiming shots. Nobody claimed it, and I was like,
Wow.
I hope that they were thinking that I was gonna claim it, because it's such a me shot.
That's so cool because, yeah, like you said, everyone has their own preferences of what to animate. So just having people claim shots is not only would it be a better experience for the animators, it would probably lead to a better quality animation overall, right?
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
Because you get animators animating things that they love. Like, you get action
and it
animators doing
shows.
action. And you
It
get
really
character
does.
animators doing character animating. Like, oh man. I chose
so
so
cool.
many scenes with lip sync because it's just so fun.
Yeah, I can see that.
I am absolutely stealing that.
Yeah, that's awesome.
That feels like it has to become more standard. But in working for Alan Becker, I can also understand instances where that's not ideal. Because there are some animators who like to try to tackle types of animation that they're not really good at yet, but they still enjoy. When there's other animators who can do better. But I do still think there is an extremely high value in letting animators choose what they want to animate in a production.
Yeah.
So I'll definitely take that into consideration for not only my projects, but I might bring that up to Alan even. That sounds fun.
So I have one more thing to kind of wrap up the indie animation industry portion. And I think it's going to interest a lot of people in the chat, which is, what are some tips to get into this type of industry?
So, when it comes to like getting into like the indie or even just like animation industry in general, don't be afraid to post. Like, don't be afraid to like, oh, there's so many other animators that are better than me. Oh my god, it's like we're all part of the big machine that makes animation move. We all have our own parts of the machine, and we all contribute to making that machine work properly. And it's up to you to find where your part goes. And when it comes to getting into the industry, just don't be afraid. Do not be afraid to just throw your stuff up on Twitter, on YouTube, join Discord servers with other animators in it and share your work. Because I made all of my connections and all of my jobs were through Discord and servers that I joined with other people. Like, I've met people that I never thought that I would even be able to meet in my life just because they were in another Discord server.
Got it.
Like, when you go into these communities and don't just like go in, share your work, and leave. You go in and actually communicate with them and be like part of their community and interact with them and have meaningful conversations about animation with them. You build this like large network, and with that network, it starts like branching off. Mm-hmm. Like if someone sees your work and they're like, oh yeah, I met them in this Discord server. Oh, I'm actually looking for animators right now. Can you give me their Discord?
Yeah.
It could be that easy.
Yeah, I can speak on that as well, because on the Alan Becker team, I'm the one who does a lot of the reaching out and hiring. We've just recently started resorting to just sniping animators from Twitter. That's just what we do at this point. And there's also a lot of instances where in this industry, it's a lot of who you know. So while posting to platforms does help, the more people you know in any community would also help your chances in getting hired anywhere. Yeah. Because like I was talking to the one of the creative directors on Roblox, and they were saying like the animation industry, while it seems really big, in the large scheme of things, it's really small. Like it's a small world. Like so many animators know each other.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That is true. It's a lot smaller than you think, because animation itself is such a specific.
You have to be
uncommon
crazy
talent.
to
Yeah, exactly.
To sit down and make thousands of drawings for one piece of like 5-minute art, like you're insane.
Yeah,
but it's a fun insane.
Yeah. I feel like that's part of the reason why I've never met another animator IRL.
Right?
Yeah, dude, exactly.
It's so rare. Yeah.
I have troubles finding like just an artist in general, but like an animator on top of that is kind of like a super rare shiny. In real life.
Yeah, for sure, man.
So speaking of that, let's get into some general animation questions, shall we? I guess when it comes to animation, you do both character acting, but some action stuff as well. But what's kind of your preference when it comes to just animating in general?
I absolutely love doing character acting, like action in general, like stuff with choreography, fighting, and stuff like that. I'm learning, and I really want to get good at it one day. Maybe with sticks first, and then slowly move into like actual character designs and all that. But when it comes to two characters talking, I feel like I'm at home when I animate something like that, because it's like I understand body language to the point where when I'm having a conversation with someone, I'm actually studying them, and it's not even intentional. I'm just like, oh, I wonder why their hand did that. And I'm like, oh yeah, I'm talking with them. Oh, and it's just like this thing that's always like in my head where I'm looking at the tiny things that people do, where say someone is going to say something to someone else and they turn. It's not just like their torso turning to them. Like I'm always thinking about like, okay, so they're going to take a step and then they're going to take another step and then we'll see their head slowly turn. Maybe they'll bop their head down. And I'm always thinking about the body language because I love body language.
Yeah. That kind of reminds me of like, on like YouTube where they have like those criminal interrogation videos.
Yeah.
Like they kind of point out like everything that they're doing. If they're like hunched or whatever they're doing with their hands, it kind of conveys a specific emotion. To kind of it gives away if they're lying or not, which is kind of crazy. Like the most subtle little gestures.
Wow, things I never thought we'd talk about on the Dojocast.
Yeah, and I love watching stuff like that because
Me too.
Kind of addicting. Yeah.
There was a really, really amazing tip that I heard from an animator on Twitter. I don't even know how many years ago, but it was like, when you're doing body language and animating a character, don't keep it all to the face. Remember that the body can be its own face. The shoulders are the eyebrows of the body. And the moment I heard that, I was like, oh, that makes so much sense.
It does.
I like that.
Mm-hmm.
I forget which animator it was. It was like an old guy. but he was showing how much emotions you can show with just hands. And like he was, it was like a YouTube video, but it was he was animating. It was just like a body. It was like a blob or something, and he was just animating the hands on top of it. It wasn't even like the arms either. It was just a blob moving around, and then he added the hand expressions, and it just pretty much showed the entire emotion of the character.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, hands,
so cool.
Hands are like, if eyebrows are like the, I mean, like if shoulders are the eyebrows of the body, the hands are the lip sync.
Oh yeah.
Oh wow, yeah.
I agree.
That's a great way of putting it.
So what about like I know you mentioned before that you like lip syncing. Is there a good approach on how to do lip syncing? Because I know there's a lot of people that struggle with that kind of thing.
I always think about like the KISS method, like keep it simple.
Yeah.
When I'm doing lip sync, I'm never thinking of lip sync first. I'm always thinking of like body language first. I always animate without like the mouth present. I'm always thinking of what are the shoulders doing, what is the language doing, and then at the very end, that's when I jump in on doing any kind of lip sync. And I'm always thinking of like only 11 shapes in my head, maybe 8. So it's just like closed teeth, open mouth with bottom teeth, and just like it's a really, really small chart of shapes that I use in my head because you don't need that many. And I always see animators struggling because they use like the L shape for the N, or they just like they're spending too much time and thinking too much about it that the character doesn't even look like they're saying what they're saying.
Yeah.
But when you simplify it and just go really cartoony with it and exaggerate, because you know exaggeration is one of the main principles in animation, it becomes more readable and you understand it a lot better.
Yeah. What about in regards to like the timing? Because I know I struggle with that personally. Just trying to like match the shapes with the like the keyframe, like the wavelengths of the voice acting. Is that just kind of like you just kind of keep playing it through, and if it looks natural, then you just go with it, or is there kind of like a system?
I have a system where if you have someone talking and you're animating to that dialogue, every single time there's a wide vowel or like a big vowel, you know, like an important part in the dialogue. That's when I draw a mouth. I draw the mouth there, and then as the animation goes on, maybe like 8 frames later, I'll do another mouth because it sounds like an important moment, and I'm just doing these wide open close areas. And it's not even like on frame rate. They're not even in the right place. But afterwards, that's when I go in. It's kind of like pose to pose, but lip sync in general.
Really interesting.
Yeah.
And it's like when I'm doing animation like that, like lip sync, I'm always thinking of like, you know, what the mouth is doing, what the jaw is doing as well.
Yeah.
And at the very end, to make the timing a bit better, I have all of the syllables that I need, and then I just go through frame by frame, and I'm thinking, okay, well, this sounds like it should be held for a little bit longer, so I'll put it on a 2. This one sounds like it should be on a 1. And if it still doesn't fit, the greatest thing I learned is to just push everything back 1 frame. 9 out of 10 times that'll fix it.
That's brilliant.
That's crazy.
That's
I
cool.
can't
So,
even.
like,
No, sorry.
like,
Go ahead.
we're so used to animating things on the dot. Like you hear a slap, you animate to the sound of the slap. But if you animate 1 frame before, it's so much better.
1 frame before, got it.
Interesting.
Interesting.
I mean, that does make sense though, because like when we're using our senses, a lot of it is confirmation for other senses. So one example I like to use is I'll watch TV, right? But a lot of times I have subtitles on, and the reason why I do that is there might be moments where I don't quite think I heard what I heard, and then that on-screen confirmation. And so when you're doing something that you're animating, when you're hearing something, the visuals are lining up with that, and it gives us that confirmation. And so sometimes playing with that confirmation back or forth can feel better or worse, where you have the audio a little bit beforehand, and the visuals a little after that, or swapping it. And we're talking about frames here, so it's not like it's 1 second later where it's a awful delay. You're trying to sync those two things up. So that does make sense, because we do that in a lot of other ways for life in general.
It's also like a tiny analog to the speed of sound as well, how it varies very, very slightly. But if the visuals come a little bit before the audio, that always feels more natural than the audio coming like before.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So stepping away a little bit from
it's like a thing our brains are trained for.
Stepping away a little bit from lip syncing, another kind of like big thing that we learn early on, and also kind of use as a way to like measure our skill as we evolve, is doing walk cycles. Did you have a hard time learning walk cycles?
When I started doing walk cycles, it was I read the Animator Survival Kit first. Like, I remember reading over it and I was like, okay, this sounds easy. And, I sucked.
Naturally. Naturally.
And I was trying to think of an easier way to make it, like, easy. And I realized that a lot of people get stuck trying to, they only animate like the one step, especially with stick figure animation. Everybody does the one step and then they call it a day.
It's
I've done it,
Oh yeah.
But walk cycles, always keep it simple when you're blocking out, because people always want to go immediately straight ahead. But when you're animating like a really grounded walk cycle, just kind of do it on fours. You got your contact position, the crossing position, and then another contact, and then crossing, and it's just keep those 4 drawings.
Yeah.
And then do in-betweens afterwards.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's like I see people getting so stuck on doing walk cycles, and they either feel like really floaty, or they feel really janky and kind of jittery.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. It's because you're thinking too much about like what's going on ahead of time. Like your volumes are changing too much because you don't have a reference far enough ahead. Or far enough behind.
Right. That makes a lot of sense.
Walk cycles. Yeah, like walk cycles, I do like the contact position, and then I go ahead to the other contact position, and then I draw that one because I have a perfect silhouette to reference with the perfect height, perfect width, everything.
That's smart. That's smart, because I can't tell you how many times that I'm definitely one of the latter that you were speaking of, where we just get excited, go straight ahead, right? And I feel like I'm doing so good. I'm going through and I got my steps in, right? And I'm going to go to my final step and I play it back, and it looks like he has a one leg is shorter than the other. So he's like up, down, up, down, down. Like, it doesn't look like a natural gait. It just looks like he's shrinking or getting taller after every step. And it's simply because of that. Because yes, I might have animated a solid looking first step, and then I animated another solid looking step, but they don't work well together because I didn't actually correlate the first contact and the second contact to be even remotely close to each other. So then it looks all weird and bouncy.
Yeah.
That makes a lot of sense.
That's the thing. That's the thing that I had. So I still have trouble with walk cycles, because as like a stick figure animator, that's kind of where I started learning animation in general, right? But pretty much 99% of everything that you animate is straight ahead. So when I ended up trying to do walk cycles, it would always look wonky. Like you'd have like a limp or
like
a wonky
dragging behind.
Yeah, or like they're leaning too far back or forward. It was just like I couldn't wrap my head around it. But that's when I first kind of learned that, oh, dude, pose to pose actually exists, and it actually is viable sometimes to do pose to pose.
Yeah. Like that's when it shines the most, is walk cycles and run cycles, especially if you can reuse it as well.
Yeah. So that's why, like, you can see in most of my animations a while back, I mean still now, like they would never walk. They would always like take one step and then just start fighting.
Right.
Or they teleport, or like a one giant step and then start fighting.
Yep.
Because it was just hiding the the fact that I couldn't do walk cycles.
Yeah, I'm always thinking about like center of balance as well when you do like the tiny steps. I was talking with another animator about this recently because they were drawing stuff and they looked like they were leaning too much, and I was like, you got to think about the center of balance. And when you're walking, your center of balance is pushed forward because when you're walking, you're basically falling forward and catching yourself over and over again.
Yeah.
Wait, can I pause you right there? Isn't that an exact line from the Animator Survival Kit? Because I feel like I remember that. Because I remember that. That stuck with me forever. It's walking is you catching your fall in succession.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway, sorry.
It was like
run cycles.
Yo, put that away, Hatena. What are you doing? Yeah, put that away.
No, we're looking at it. We're talking about it.
My insecurities.
But you were talking about how, paying attention to your center of gravity and you get stuck in these positions. I was exactly that animator. And I had a discussion with Exortine, and he was telling me, he's like, "We got to move your feet, man." I was all, "What do you mean?" He's like, "Well, just instead of after that punch, slide your foot forward again." And it just unlocked my brain, completely changed everything, because I was always in this situation where I'd be like, punch, 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 kick. And now my guy's basically almost horizontal. And so I have to have him bounce in the sky or zip to the side, or something has to like dramatically change, because now he's in this position that is just so off balanced. There's nothing I can do. But now it makes the world of difference, because if I'm keeping that center of my center of mass the whole time above me and balanced, I can go as long as I want, and I stop it whenever I want. And that changed, that opened up everything. So that was like a huge point, is really paying attention to that center of gravity. Use your feet.
Yeah.
What would you say is the hardest thing to animate in your opinion, Mayde?
Okay, so this is between two things. Animating a character on a 3D grid in perspective.
Oh my god,
oh
dude.
My god.
I already know.
Oh, that's a great answer.
Okay.
Yeah.
So,
Great answer.
There's an amazing example of this from Beauty and the Beast by James Baxter.
Oh, I know the shot.
Ballroom when
Hold
they're
on.
dancing.
Bring it up.
It is. Oh my god, I don't even know how he did it.
Is it the twirling camera panning while they're dancing?
Yeah, and there's he animated the reflection.
Yeah.
No
No
shot,
way.
Like that scares me. Like that is the greatest animated shot of all time.
All right, hang on. Just.
Let's see it.
James
Is this
Baxter,
it?
who was one of the most amazing animators, still is, ever on the Beast dance, but also change it in perspective. So
Oh
my
God.
Dude, I watched this as a kid, but you don't really appreciate like what's going on here until you're an animator, right?
Beautiful
Oh,
computer
It's
graphics ballroom
insane.
drops from the ceiling down Beast dance. But also
How?
change it in perspective.
It's crazy how he did that, because he did it with just a regular ass pencil, some printer paper. He just printed out the back.
That's pen and paper right there. And every in between is so consistent.
It's a
It's
shading and everything.
disgusting in the best
Dude,
way.
I'm gonna get
It's
sick again, bro.
absurd. Like, it's not fair.
It's so
Like,
good.
I'm mad that I'm not James Baxter.
Like,
I mean,
that
yeah,
is-
he literally
that
is built different.
The number one hardest thing to do. Moving a camera in perspective with moving, like, oh my god.
Yeah.
It's just,
While staying
And
on
he's doing
model,
dress physics.
yeah, with
all the
clothing and secondary motion and all that. That isn't. I mean, it almost looks 3D.
I would say, like, number two hardest thing to animate is a character approaching and moving away from the camera. Like,
Yeah.
The blue stick figure!
really consistency.
Oh my god.
Oh no, dude.
No, that's dead. The meme is dead, Stone.
Yeah, that meme's dead. It stays dead too.
It stays there too.
I killed it. on Twitter.
Stay
It's
out.
canon event, right? But yeah, I completely agree. Like staying on model with perspective and all that, it's difficult, man, for sure.
Like when you have a character getting close to the camera with a wide angle lens and their entire form just looks weird. And then when they're really far away, it looks totally different. And when you animate that, transition in perspective, like a character walking past a camera, like towards and past a camera, I don't even know. It seems impossible.
Yeah, I mean, I don't even know how you can make that consistent, because if you don't get it consistent, it looks off a little bit, and you can't really know why.
I think I've seen it like once in One Punch Man, and I was like, how the fuck do you do this?
Oh man. So I mean, I guess there's a lot of people watching that are getting started in animation. Is there just like any general tips you would give to those kinds of people that are just starting off?
Just animate. Just keep on animating.
Exactly.
If you don't like what your animation looks like, it's okay to start over. It's okay to just like say, no, I'm tossing this. Let's start over with something else.
Yeah.
Like, don't be afraid of having disposable animations that you're working on. Like, if you're working on something and it's just not working out, don't waste another like week of your life trying to fix it when you could start over and do something better.
Yeah. It's hard to do that too.
Yeah, because when I was learning how to draw hands, that was my biggest issue. Is I would spend like 15 minutes drawing like the rough of a hand, and I would just kind of look at it, and I'm like, it doesn't look right. And I'd spend the 45 minutes drawing it, like fixing it up. Oh
my god!
I'm like, it still doesn't look right, and I would spend another hour trying to fix it up. And I'm like, I just spent 2 hours on a single hand.
Yeah.
And after that, I started drawing one hand every 10 minutes. And after like 10 minutes, or even after like 20 minutes, the hands already look good. And at that point, I have 3 hands that I drew.
Yeah,
I like
that. Like applies to art too, right? Oh yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, sorry. I want to bounce off of that. I don't remember who this is quoted from, but it was someone in the community that said, like, if Flash crashes, don't give up. It's just the Flash gods telling you could do better. And, like, unironically, like, that has helped me. Like, I'll work on an animation. I'm like, man, this looks terrible. And then I don't save, and it crashes, and I'm like, god damn it. But then I remember that quote, and then I go back into the file right after, and it's instantly so much better. If you just go back and start over. It sounds like a waste of time, but sometimes it's really helpful to just take a step back, start from ground zero, square one.
Also, for new animators, don't be afraid to do like to do the easy stuff. You don't like. I always see new animators jumping directly into the Sakuga, the Utapon cubes, the Sabunga, and like they wanna do all the like crazy effects, and the like want to just make something absolutely like mind-blowingly anime-ish when they don't even know how to do a bouncing ball.
Yeah.
Right. Yep.
And it's okay to start with a bouncing ball. It's okay to start with a pendulum. It's okay to start with that and then perfect it until you can start to see things move in a proper way.
Yeah, I agree. I agree with that.
So many people are skipping it these days.
I know.
It's upsetting.
I know a lot of new animators, and I see their animations, and it's just a sensory overload. There's just so much speed going on, and so much anime.
It's so exciting to get into. Like, you just want to be that good instantly.
It is. Yeah.
But animation is a very time-consuming hobby and eventually profession that requires an insane amount of patience.
Yeah.
So you have to learn that early on if you want to dedicate so much more of your time to it.
Yeah, there was like there was something that I told someone in the help chat in the Dojo Discord where they were kind of like, why do my animations not look good? Why are they not smooth? And I mentioned to them, like, it's okay to animate something that you don't want to post. It's okay to just animate for the sake of animate, because like, out of every single animation that I've posted online, there's 1,000 that nobody has ever seen because I keep animating.
Yeah.
And when people approach every single animation as if it's going to be a project, that's when you start getting into really bad burnout. That's when you feel like you're not good enough.
Right, and that can crush everything. That can steamroll everything.
Yeah. Not only that, it's like there's a lot of new people that get hyper focused or what's it called, like tunnel vision on
Yeah.
very specific movements that don't matter.
Yeah.
When they should be focusing on speed and getting the general overall movement.
Yeah.
I think that's
like one of my greatest. I think one of the greatest challenges you can give to someone is, especially one of these newer kind of sabunga animators, is like animate something with 0 impact frames, with zero whips, as in like teleportations.
Yeah.
Animate something with 0 like debris and like impacts from the ground and Utapon cubes and 0 flares. Have somebody sit up from a chair and walk off screen.
Yeah.
It might be boring, but it does teach you better about like the fundamentals. That is for sure.
There's nothing more impressive than an animation of the most mundane thing.
Yeah.
Or you might find out that you really love animating it.
Yeah.
Like, I've been into action animation for many years, and in this last year, I posted my demo reel, and I noticed, like, all my animations were pretty much character acting focused. And I had so much more fun with animation this last year. Not meaning I won't do action again. I still have fun with those, but not as much fun as character acting and all the subtle movements and stuff.
True, yeah. It could be your preference. You never know.
There's a scene from Mob Psycho where I think it was Julian, one of those animators. I think his name is Julian Benz or something. He animates one of the main characters walking up some stairs and towards the camera and passes by the camera.
Oh.
And
that's another hard thing to animate, stairs.
And like you watch it and it's like, oh, it's just a guy walking upstairs. Watching it as an animator, I'm like, oh my god.
Yes, dude. Yes.
It's the most mundane thing ever, but it's so difficult. Like, I would prefer doing like Sabunga fight stuff over this. Like that seems easy.
Right.
But yeah, that's the thing. Like the subtle animations that people do, it really shows your level of skill, because I think Oblivion said it in the chat. Like, it's really easy to hide your mistakes when you're animating speed.
Oh, absolutely.
And I completely agree with that. But when you're doing subtle animations, there's nothing to hide. It's just like your skill just showing through. You know.
You have there's absolutely no safety net. There is no band-aids for you to put on top.
Exactly. Cool.
To shift gears a little bit here and also talk about one of your other things that you like to do, which is music and singing.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
So what is, like, I want to know, like, so what instruments do you usually play? Or do you play multiple instruments or just one?
I play mostly guitar, and I play like a tiny bit of piano. Like, I suck at it. But with guitar, I've been playing guitar for about as long as I've been animating. So about like 16 years.
Dang.
Wow.
Started when I was like 10 years old.
That was a busy year for you.
Yeah.
I was like, I just want to get into everything. And it's just like, I guess I like music. I like music in a way that, like, it's something else that I can do. It's something else that makes me feel really good and productive. Because there's been a lot of times where I'm like doing animation and I just can't. Like, I sit down and I draw a frame and I'm like, I don't want to draw the next frame. I don't want to do like, I really don't want to do this right now. And I'm like, I don't want to play video games either. I'm just going to pick up a guitar. And I'm still doing something. I'm doing something productive and I'm creating. And by the time I'm done recording something, I'm like, oh, I have something I can use in something. I feel like animating now.
So it's kind of like your ping pong. That's what I like to call, like, when I have something that, like, I like animating, but I will come to that same moment, right, where you're just like, I could sit here for 5 hours and I will be in the same spot that I started with, because there's just this wall. And I feel like you have to have something to bounce off of. And it's like you're refilling that meter when you're doing the other thing, and you're enjoying doing the thing you're doing that isn't the animating. But then when you come back, it's like you're refreshed, you're restarted, and now you can go to that next frame and you're excited to move forward. I think that's incredibly important. Whatever your ping pong could be, you know, for anybody.
Guess what?
Yeah.
Yo.
Somebody asked something.
This track that's been playing in the background has been one of Mayde's tracks.
Shot,
Yeah.
dude. Was it you have a lot of music that you've actually released. I checked your YouTube, your music playlist, and you have a lot of music. Like over 30 uploads.
I love doing music because it's fun, and it lets me explore something that I haven't explored that much. Also, the song that's playing right now, it's recorded live.
Really?
I don't use software.
Oh wow!
I use Audacity for all my music because I just want to record and then stop the recording and then hit record again for another layer. Like that's all my music is.
Wow,
damn. That's awesome.
So, how would you say music has affected your life? You know, you talked about a little bit about how you kind of use it as something else that's productive that you can do when you're having a hard time animating. But is there other ways that it might have impacted you?
It's kind of like it lets me. I don't even know. It's just. It's like the one thing that keeps me sane. It's the one thing that like grounds me.
Yeah.
Because when I'm doing animation, or when I'm doing like music in general, it's kind of like an escape. And my family has always kind of been like really, they didn't really want me to do animation. And when I started playing guitar, they were like, "Oh my God, we want you to play guitar."
Really?
When animation started working out, they were like, "Oh, never mind then." So now they want me to do animation for a living, and they don't really care about my music. So now that I'm like sort of in between, where I'm like, I like doing animation and I like doing music, I want to do both of them. My family is kind of like, okay, sure, buddy. And the way it's affected me personally, it's just every time I animate or every time I like do some really cool music thing, it just reminds me of like, I did this, and this is something that came out of my amplifier. This is something that like I did from scratch. And that feeling of making something from scratch feels so good. Like if you were to do like an animation and you did storyboards, but not even just storyboards, you did the writing, you did the voice acting, you did the sound effects, you did the designs. Like you made the microphone that you recorded with the voice acting. Like that kind of stuff makes me so happy.
Yeah.
It's magic.
Yeah.
It is magic. You're making something from nothing.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's so satisfying. I've been I got some guitar hangers to put on my wall, and I have an acoustic bass, a bass guitar, and just a regular acoustic guitar. And I like ever since I put, because they're just to the left of my setup, and ever since they're in my line of view, I've been playing them so much more, and it's so satisfying. Even when not recording, there's something so calming about just not even exactly covering something, just playing.
Yeah. Dude, did you know, Mayde, that like when I was one of my roommates Jump? Do you know Jump, right? How do I jump?
Think so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We go to the gym together, and dude, a lot of times when I go to the gym, we still play some of your tracks on the way.
Whoa.
Like in the cars.
So cool.
That's
Yeah,
cool.
it's just good. It's just good. It's like the type of music that we like, so we put you on sometimes, and we're like, oh, dude, I wonder how Mayde's doing.
Only thing I need is drums, but I don't want to sequence drums. I want to get a drum kit and record them. Like that's where my brain is.
That'd be awesome, for sure. But yeah, definitely keep doing the music, because I'm certainly a fan, for sure.
Oh, thank you.
Well, last thing, do you have some of your own favorite works?
I have this one song that I wrote called like brief description of the person that I was, or something like that's the whole title. I was trying to think of a better title, but I was like, it's a long title. I'm a fan of long titles. Sure, let's do it. And I had the lyrics written over the span of like 6 years.
Wow.
I wrote some of the lines way back, and as time went on, I was kind of like revisiting them, and I would put it to a different sounding song, and I'm like, it doesn't work. And I would do it to a different sounding song, and I'm like, that doesn't work either. Until I landed on something, and when it finally worked, I was like, okay, this is it. This is the one. This is my favorite now. And when I started writing more of the guitar parts to it, I just kept layering it and layering it and layering it, and I just felt so happy making it. Every single time I stopped recording and then listened to it, I just felt like that flutter in my chest.
Yeah.
And the lyrics too are based off of like I wrote them based off of this thought of the person that I was like 10 years ago versus the person that I am now, and feeling so happy that that old person isn't alive anymore, that person died and turned into me. Like I took over that skin, and I'm a better person than that person.
Damn, bro.
I love that.
Yeah,
I love that self-reflection. That's so cool.
And I wrote the greatest lines at the end of like, I'm not afraid to die, but I am afraid to see what I was when it happens.
Yeah.
Oh man.
Damn.
I love that.
Yeah.
Whoa. Hold on.
That's awesome, dude. That's so good. That's awesome.
Little scream.
Oh, yeah.
That's so cool.
Dang, dude. You got some pipes in you, man.
Yeah, it sounds so professionally done. You did a great job.
It does. Yeah,
So
it
good.
does.
So good.
All Audacity.
It's
Oh,
crazy.
that's
to
just
put
on
that.
Audacity?
That blows my mind.
That's insane.
Yeah, 100% Audacity.
Jeez.
Because I try to get the sound as it sounds live. Like if I were to play that on a stage, that's what it would sound like.
Yeah.
That's so valuable. Man.
Do you have like tracks released on like Spotify and stuff, or are you just kind of just releasing stuff?
I've been having people ask me that for like 4 years now, and I'm like,
Brother,
It's a sign.
Yeah. I need that on tap now.
That's what I'm saying.
I've been thinking about it, but I'm like, I don't know, like what the hell is CD Baby? What the hell is all this stuff?
I don't know,
What's a
but
distro kid?
yeah, like more people got to hear your works for sure. Like I hope it takes off.
And if your music career becomes successful, we can take all the credit.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Perfect. That's exactly right.
I do have like an idea for a short film, an animated short film I was gonna do about my dog, who passed away this year.
Sorry.
It was the greatest dog ever. She was fucking amazing. Like, oh my god. Ran away from home about 10 years ago, and she followed me the entire time. Made it about 60 miles away from home, and I got picked up the next day by police. And my dog was still with me.
Wow.
And I want to make a short film about that. And I really, really love the idea of doing everything from the ground up, like I mentioned earlier, and doing all the music, like scoring it myself from scratch.
That would be really cool.
Yeah.
With no sound effects, no voices, nothing. All guitar, all sound effects are emulated using a guitar.
Dude, that'd be so
That would
sick.
be so cool.
Yeah.
You
So
just
you
a
have
little
such
off
a-
topic. Sorry, a little off topic. But
alright.
I mean, I make music too. But you know what? One of my favorite things to do is I like to make weird noises with my voice to try and imitate an instrument, and then apply a shit ton of filters to those voices to make it actually sound like that instrument. Like I could pull off a pretty
Bro.
convincing electric guitar.
Yeah, that's an untapped market, to be honest.
There you go.
It's so fun though, like to just make silly ass noises and then make it sound cool.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
I'd recommend it. Anyway,
I
sorry.
think Yegor would appreciate that.
Oh
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah,
Oh yeah.
for sure.
The whole Fox thing.
Yeah.
I was gonna say you have such a unique style to your music. Are you inspired by any specific musicians?
Number one, obviously, is going to be this band called Marietta. They came out of nowhere, like probably 12 years ago or something. Released an album, and they released an album and then just donated all the money they made from it to charity, and then they went on with their lives.
Dang.
That's
And
awesome.
it's one of my favorite albums that I've like genuinely listened. Like, I don't think I've ever found another album like that. It's called like Summer Death, and every time I'm like going for a walk, that's like my main character music I put on.
Yo, you should link that to us because I'm kind of curious now. We won't play it on the stream.
Modern
Yeah, no, we can't, but maybe we'll leave it in the description.
Yeah, we'll link it.
It'd be you.
Yeah, Modern Baseball got me back into playing guitar in like 2017. And like Front Bottoms, all these weird bands, kind of bad singers, fun guitar. The Strokes is a huge influence for me.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Like, their entire first album, I know on guitar from front to back. Oh,
Really?
Oh, that's nice.
That's
Nice.
awesome, man.
their second album, I'm still going through. Third album, I'm like halfway through. Like, for acoustic guitar influence, probably Sufjan Stevens with like Chicago and like all of his like Illinois music, like his Illinois album and Michigan album and stuff like that. Like those have been like huge for me, like getting back into guitar and learning it.
That's awesome.
And like some of the weirder stuff is like the Boards of Canada, like Autechre and like the Square Pusher shit that I listen to every once in a while. It's like it's just noise. It's just
Yeah, dude, I know some people who like just listen to just I don't even know what to call it. It's just noise or like
Ambiance.
chaotic. It's not even
Yeah.
ambiance. It's like chaotic noise. I don't even know how to describe it, but not my cup of tea. But it does invoke some kind of emotion. For sure.
All right. I think we're going to get into our featured animation or animator this episode. But before we get into that, I just want to let the chat, everyone who's watching this live, know that if you have any questions for Mayde here or anyone here on the podcast, then feel free to ask away. I'm about to get a question bubble up, and you just got to click on that bubble, ask your question. We'll review them, and we'll answer the best ones. So
Cool.
I saw somebody earlier in chat mention something about a Stratocaster, and I was like, absolutely get a Stratocaster. Do that.
What is that, like a guitar? A type of
Yeah,
guitar?
most versatile guitar for beginners. You can't go wrong with it.
Nice.
All right. Well, the animator that we have today that we want to take a look at is JH, who's been an animator in the community for a while. But they've lately been practicing a G-stick style.
Mm-hmm.
So we wanted to take a look at some of those.
Oh yeah. I mean,
These are some of those.
this is kind of like one of his first attempts of doing G-stick animations, and it's so good. It's so good.
Oh,
And I personally would love to have him on the podcast, but he doesn't speak English too well as his
Yeah.
first language, right?
yeah, they don't speak very fluent English. But that doesn't mean that we can't get a translator for them. So it's possible. They're just maybe not likely at the moment.
Right.
But yeah, that was just one of their animations. But even this, like,
Oh, good.
they're really good at the really fast-paced, quick action. And then when they started getting into G-Stick, it got so... It's insane how fast they're improving at it.
Yeah.
I love how readable it is, despite everything going on.
Yeah.
That's the one thing about JH, is their action is super, super, super fast, but you can always tell what's happening. Which that's incredibly hard to do.
Yeah.
They spend a lot of time on like the effects and stuff like that to help sell any of the things, any of the movements that don't have clarity on their own. I've had the pleasure of working with him a little bit on a little joint file that we're playing with, and I love watching him work because he'll do the motions fairly quickly, but then he'll go and it won't by itself, it won't work. But then he'll spend a lot of time on sparks or swirls or smears over and over and over and over again, going back and through until the movement makes complete sense. And it's on their own, they won't work as well. But once you add in those layers that he adds to it, that's where the clarity comes in. And that's where the magic is of like these super fast movements that we're still picking up on. Like, look at that frame right there, right? That's a great example. Right. When you would animate just the character itself, it would kind of be a little bit like blinky. Your brain wouldn't be able to wrap around the movement too well. But then he starts adding in these smears and these trails and sparks and things like that, and it helps sell the movement that isn't actually drawn in by the character itself. It's really, really, really cool to see.
For me, like, look at this stop and go action right here with this, the green flash introducing this character. You have the rule thirds leading your eye towards that character with the movement, the camera moving that way as well. But it goes from slow to super fast.
Yeah,
and somehow it's still incredibly readable. Like you've just watched all that. Let me go back and play just that 1 second. It happens so fast, but like I didn't even need to go back and go frame by frame for you to understand it.
Yeah.
That's definitely something I want to improve on as well, because I'm just used to animating the before frame, the hit frame, and then the afterwards, right?
Yeah.
But to really up that speed, sometimes you don't even need the hit frame. You just need the before and after with the trail, and then it ups the speed by so much.
Oh my god, I love these smears.
Yeah, they're so good.
Oh, they
they're
are.
So good.
Oh, it's so good. Like, let me just pause on some of these.
Yeah, the squiggly kind of smears are.
Man,
I
look
love
at
that.
Oh, that frame. That's
so
fun.
tasty.
How do you go from that pose to that pose and it still makes sense? Like, that's what I'm talking about. Like, no animator thinks to go from this pose to that pose that fast. And that, like, this pose is on 2 frame. It takes place in 2 frame. This kind of goes back to what we talked about earlier on, like, 1s and 2s and 3s.
Yeah.
Like, they're sticking on primarily 2s for all this action, from what I'm seeing, and rarely any 1s.
It's cool to see. Yeah, I just feel like it's like the jump that he needed, you know, because he was so good with just the 2D stick figure style, like really fast paced.
Oh yeah. And
but now it's like on a different level.
And now they're just superior.
It's cool to see. Yeah. Yeah. No,
and then there's this last one from them, and then we'll get into questions. But look at this walk cycle. This one's much more slow, but like it's so fun.
You can just see him experimenting with different character design and stuff.
And the facial cool animations too are really fun.
Yeah, the facial.
Like, more people need to experiment with facial animation in the community.
It's
so much fun.
I do need to do that as well. How did he do that lighting effect?
Everything's done in Flash, I believe, or whatever version of Flash he uses.
There's no way that's in Flash.
He might be.
That circle?
Oh no! Well, yeah, he does do After Effects as well. I forgot. But like, I wouldn't be surprised if like the base of this wasn't Flash and he just kind of blew it.
Yeah.
Like that.
Very cool to see. Good job, JH. If you're watching,
if
keep doing
watching
you,
this,
man.
I love you.
High five.
This is fun.
Yeah. I hope we can have him on one day. That'd be cool.
Me too. We'll see. One day maybe. Well, that's it for the animation spotlight for today. We got some questions coming in. I'm gonna let you two start to go through them while I post some more of these.
Sure.
I'll take the first stab here. I got one from Junior Artists asking Mayde, do you have a duelist?
I actually don't. I'm really new to the community. I never really thought about making a duelist.
Yeah,
Is that something that you might do? That's a
Thinking
follow-up
about it, honestly.
question.
Like, honestly thinking about it, I just want to get better at, like, fight choreography and, like, really, really get into the weeds of that.
Dude, Mayde doing fight choreography is something that I would love to see. That'd be so cool. It's like so out of your comfort zone, but I feel like you'll do really well with it. Wait, what else? What else? Okay, here's a good one by Green Machine. He asks, "How's your guys' relationship with referencing videos online for studying and learning? Do you record and reference yourself?"
Ooh, I like that question.
Ooh.
I actually just bought a wooden figurine of a person and a hand because I want to get better at drawing hands.
That's cool.
But yeah, I think those are very useful. You see them used in the industry.
Or actually, what I do is I have a tripod and like a little mount for my phone, and I actually take reference videos of me doing specific actions, not like jumps and flips and all that, but like walking around a jump, maybe like falling to the ground, turning my head really fast, like wringing my hands and all that with like a high, like a really low shutter so I don't get like motion blur.
Yeah.
And I just take individual frames from that video and use those as a reference for like figure drawing.
Oh, that's cool.
Because if I set my phone up and I take a picture of me, like set like a 5-second timer and then pose for it, it always looks awkward. You know, you can tell that someone's posing for a picture versus someone in the middle of a motion.
Yeah.
So yeah, I always think of drawing in motion, so I'm always taking videos of myself.
I know a lot of people in the industry still do that. They record entire scenes of themselves.
Yeah.
Like even with like 3D animators, they do that a lot. So yeah, it's always a good resource to just use yourself.
Absolutely. Thunderblaze asks, thank you guys for the tips, and now I'm going to restart my animation demo again. Good luck. I just wanted to ask, what is the perfect FPS for beginners to start at? That's a great question.
Just use 24. Just land on 24 and you can mess around with 3s and 2s. Because everybody says like, oh, you could start on 12. Like you could start on 12, but you could use 24 and just land on 2s.
Yeah.
Like there's no difference.
Yep. Yep.
That's the thing.
When you
when
use
people
24,
sorry.
sorry. When you use 24 FPS, you kind of train your brain. Like this wraps back to what I was saying before about how you see everything in 24. It trains your brain to think like that, and when you use other animations as like inspiration, you just know how many frames they used. When you see a video, you just know how many frames it needs. And when you land on a standard frame rate, there's never going to be any clash if you get a job somewhere. Like if you've always animated at like 30 FPS or 18 FPS and the production tells you they're using 24 FPS, your stuff is going to move way too fast or way too slow.
Yeah, I agree. And like I remember when I first started animating, I thought 24 was impossible because automatically in your beginner's head, you just think you're going to single frame 24 FPS your animation.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's almost never the case. You're almost always double framing, triple framing, even quad framing, just to adjust the speed of the animation.
Yeah.
So I'd say just get used. Just start on 24 and then get used to like double framing and triple framing.
Yeah.
All right.
Wow, there's a lot of questions.
God, there was a good one specifically for Mayde. I saw. Which one was it? Oh, Thorn asks more about this Stratocaster. Mayde, do you have a specific model or series that you like or you think has a unique sound?
A Strat is a Strat. They're all the same. But they only become different once you get up to like the like 2,000 price range, so I'm not gonna recommend
Oh
that.
wow.
Get a really cheap Squire. Just change the pickups, and that's like 10 times better than like a really really cheap Squire that you'll find. And changing pickups is easy if you use like a soldering iron. It takes like probably 15-20 minutes.
All right.
Cool.
Sith asks, and this could be for all of us, how do you animate stick figures in your style? Do you start with the head or the body first, for an example? Head first or body first?
That's tough. I mean, both work, right?
Both work. I'd say that depends on your preference. Try both and see what works better. For like a few months, I tried head first, and then I went to body first, and body first just made more sense to me personally, but everyone's brains works a bit differently.
That's a really good question, actually.
Yeah.
Because I've done like some stick figure stuff with like the classic stick figure animation style.
Yeah.
But also do like more realistically proportioned like stick figure animations, and I always go like body first. But it's like body, head, hands, then feet. I don't connect them. Like I don't connect the hand. Like I don't connect the hands or feet to the body with limbs yet. I animate them floating, and then at the very end, that's when I go in and connect them because it's way easier to manage and it doesn't look stiff.
Wow.
And I've done stick figure animations like that too, where it's like a really basic design where I just have like the torso and the head just kind of floating around, and then the feet are like going crazy, and the hand, like the very tip of the hands are like moving around, and at the very end I just connect them, so you get really really smooth results with really clear arcs.
Yeah, I mean, there's no right way to do it. I think it's just based on your preference. So I'd say just try each one, man. Yeah.
Like I just had like road sign in my head. Man, what a madman.
Yeah, road sign. Yeah, dude.
I've got another one from Thorn here. What do you think is a good second discipline for animating, such as learning dance or martial arts for fight choreography, or learning about weather physics, plant species, geology for nature, art?
Interesting question. I think. I'll jump on it. I think for sure, if you're doing like fight stuff, knowing a martial art does help with like your vocabulary of move sets that you can do, and it will definitely help with like the realism of your animations. I'm not too sure about like weathers and plant species. I mean, I'm sure it does help if you're doing like landscapes. But yeah, because I did some taekwondo when I was a kid, and it helped me realize that there are like specific kicks that you can do, and they all look kind of different, and they all behave different. And you can kind of tell in another person's animations if they don't know that, because they'll just kind of flail. I mean, it wouldn't look like a martial art. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
And in my earlier animations, I would like make sure that it's kind of proper to a martial art, and I think that kind of helped with my style. But yeah, I think it does help for sure.
I'm not quite sure about like a second discipline. I guess my second discipline is like guitar playing, because it teaches like the persistence.
Yeah.
And, like, if you're ever having an issue with like, you're struggling with something and it's not working out, you can just practice that one thing over and over and over again until it works.
Yeah.
All right. Well, we'll take we'll do 3 more questions and then we'll call it. Does that sound?
Mm-hmm. All right.
All right. Hyun, do you want to choose one?
Here's one by junior artist, back to going to the FPS stuff. So if we animate on like 12 FPS, what's a nice smooth way to go from 12 to animating 24 FPS?
It's You just animate basically the exact same way, but instead of every new drawing being on every single frame, you just put it on twos, double frame it, and every time you need something fast, really fast, that 12 FPS can't cover, that's when you jump to full frame rate and put it on ones. And when it starts slowing down, that's when you go back to twos. Like, animation doesn't always have to be on ones, twos, or threes. It can move, it can flow like water and all that.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, just remember, an animation on twos is essentially just a 12 FPS animation.
Yep.
Yeah.
I'd say it's like 24 on twos is literally just animating on 12 FPS, but you have the option to speed it up if you want to.
Yeah,
which is really
nice
useful.
because you also have, like, when animating at 24, like if you're animating always at 12, you only have like 12 and 6 to really work with.
Yeah, exactly.
When you go on twos on 12 FPS, it's moving way too slow.
Yeah, it's crazy.
When you're using 24 FPS, you get like you get 12, 8, 6, 4, 3, 2, and 1, I think, for frame rates.
You have room. You have room to play with.
Yeah,
is one way to think of it.
It's a really, like, 24 is my favorite number now because it's divisible by so many other numbers with no decimal points. It's such a perfect number.
All right. Hey, Loonstar, do you have a question that you like?
I can't speak at the moment.
Aw, dang it. I tried.
Yo, where'd that come from? Who was that?
He's behind the camera.
It's in your head.
He's the cameraman.
Hi, Loonstar.
It's who Mayde's been staring at this whole time.
Yeah, true.
Yeah.
I want to get fan art of Mayde just staring at Loonstar into his soul.
Yes, please do that.
All right, I got a good one. Good, simple one. Future Flea asks for Mayde, what should beginner guitar players practice?
Practice, like, just your scales, but also a lot of beginner guitar players, they forget that they should practice what their right hand is doing. Like, say if you're like a right-handed guitar player and your left hand is doing all the fretting, always focus on what your right hand is doing because everybody overlooks it, and that's something that I kind of suffer from this because my right hand is really messy when I play. My left hand is also really messy. I'm just kind of like a bad player overall. I just kind of know how to play decent enough. But when people are beginning to play, they're really stiff with their picking hand, and they focus way too much on what their left hand is doing because they just want to shred, and never immediately start thinking about shredding. Just learn your chords, learn like the amount of theory that you feel you need, and then start your scales, learn some songs, favorite songs. And after a certain point, you'll realize you're learning stuff by ear.
Yeah.
All right, Stone, do you want to choose the last question?
Yeah, I got one here from Green Machine Shorts. This is kind of random, but I was wondering, for both music and animating/drawing, do you guys quote warm up, maybe to help get the flow state, as Stone says? And I know circles are used to loosen up for drawing. So, Mayde, do you warm up?
I am very notorious for drawing perfect circles. Like, I've heard this from so many people.
No way.
Wait, was there a video? Is there a video of this?
There's a very old tweet of it.
I remember this.
Yeah, I draw circles to warm up. Always, I draw circles of different sizes, and I try to draw them as large as possible on my tablet, and try to close it like perfectly. And the second I get a perfect one, I'm warmed up.
That's a great way. You lock in on circles.
And I'm talking about a circle that's about 10 inches in diameter.
Oh wow!
Oh wow!
Oh my god! Dude,
that's huge.
That take me like 3 hours.
All right, I'm gonna clock
it's
out now.
Worth
you did a full shift,
though.
just trying to get your first circle.
It is.
Yeah, I don't. I mean, for music, I practice, especially if I'm doing vocals. then I tend to do warm-ups before I, deliver actual lines. But for animation, I just go into it. I can go months without animating and experience no rust, as the people say.
Damn. Must be nice, bro.
For me with music, I always have to warm up. I play like riffs that I really like, songs that I've written, just to get back into it.
Mm-hmm.
Usually it takes me about an hour before I feel comfortable to record something.
Cool. I mean, yeah. All right. Is that it?
I think that's it.
Dang, I tried to find the video of you drawing the perfect circle.
The perfect circle.
Yeah, I want to
okay.
see that too. That's so funny.
It's a legendary.
That's okay. Well, thank you all for watching. Stone, you want to show us out?
Yeah, yes, and Mayde, thanks for joining us. This was such a cool episode, man. You're so talented in so many different ways. So thank you for sharing your world with us.
Dude, this has been like one of the chillest podcasts ever,
I know. I really
I
love it.
appreciate that
This
too.
one's so fun. And it's not often I feel like I even get to nerd into the principles or the specific details.
It's been nice, man, for sure.
Math of animation. It's so fun.
I love talking about this kind of stuff with animation. It's the favorite thing ever.
Yeah, I'm glad you decided to stop by, man.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, sorry we had to do it, so quickly.
Last minute. And you still got us on the tree, right?
Yeah, Hyun, I think we're gonna grab that one.
Yeah.
I can't feel my limbs.
You have incredible upper body strength, by the way. I can't imagine holding on to that.
Thank you.
I mean, we've been going for what, 2 hours, and you're still up there.
That's crazy. Yeah. So I think we're gonna go ahead and pick that tree. And everyone else, if you would please do us a favor, leave a comment of something you liked or remembered from this episode. For those of you who are going to be watching this in the future when it becomes a video on Hyun's Dojo, and don't forget to join us next week for episode 26 with TJB.
Whoa.
Let's go. Finally.
Hell yeah.
TJ
Yeah,
bro.
buddy.
Guy.
All right.
TJ bro.
TJ bro.
TJ bro.
I can bye.
Bye.
Wait,
Oh,
yeah.
that's the wrong
Wait.
button. Wait.
Wait.
Goodbye.
Bye.